that we
Mm.
sometimes get because, well, we probably saw it. We peeked into the future without really realizing it.
I wanted to discuss something else. And when you've been writing books, and I know you're a writer, have you ever used tarot for writer's block?
No, I haven't.
It is
Mm-mm.
the most wonderful,
I'll have to try
amazing.
it because I
Okay,
never did
okay,
that.
we're going to write a
Yeah.
book together right now.
Oh, I'm
Come
going
on,
to do it right
come on,
now.
come on.
I'm going to pick. I'm going
Okay,
to do a reading for a book.
okay, you're going to start it. I want you right now to do a shuffle, the three shuffles. What are
All
we going
right.
to write about today? You and I.
All right. I don't have a pencil handy.
That's all right. We're just doing an
Okay,
example.
well, let me think about it. Okay, let me just. Okay, what is Anne Marie and Joe going to think about? What are they going to write about today? What is well, the first card is the Fool, which is adventure and also to look where you're going.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Oh, well, that's kind of weird. Death is the present
Yeah.
card, upside down.
Okay.
Actually,
Okay.
it's
But that would be stagnancy, wouldn't it?
yeah, it is. It's like, oh, I guess maybe that's symbolic of me not really having a thought in my head about the book thing, you know.
No,
Um,
no,
but
no.
I,
I
I
would
do
say
see I do see success though, represented by the chariot. It means that we're going to be moving forward with this.
okay, this is the way
So
I would decipher that. If I were saying, why,
yeah,
what do I want to write about today? What should the theme of my book or my blog be?
okay,
It should be about what happens when you go from the characters go from free, fun loving, having a great time, to all of a sudden each finding themselves in a character plot that sets them into what happens when maturity sets in, and boom, they get stuck into stagnant situations. So then the chariot would be which one of those characters, this is the way I would say it. The book could lead to how do you get out of that rut?
hmm
Which person in this character comes out the theme comes out from childish to stagnancy to learning how to achieve and be a winner. So that would be like the kind of the basis. Now, I'm going to do
yeah.
the
Well,
one.
actually, it's a basic plot for many stories that we always
Yeah,
start out with characters that are happy and free, and then they go through this change
exactly.
and
So, okay,
they're in a situation, and it could be horror, it could be suspense, it could be intrigue, it could be a romance, love. Something happens where everything changes, and they have to deal with it. And then at some point, there's that resolution where your characters grow and they change. And actually, those are the most satisfying stories, is when the character goes through this growth and
right.
becomes a better, improved, wiser person at the end, towards the end of the story, or at some point, so they could deal with these issues. That's like the basic character plots,
So
really.
if I
Yeah,
look at what should my lead character be like? So I'm going to do this one, and so we've got the plot, or we've got the basic plot, which is, and the lead character that comes up in mine says, a great communicator, somebody that has either a con ability to be able to to convince others of this winning, convincing, almost con artist type personality, or a great communicator could be that the person in the lead person in the book is going to be about this person who finds that through their ability to communicate, who knows what they become. That would be. So give me another character.
well, I pulled up the Emperor, and he's inverted, and so I'm seeing somebody who has a lack of maturity and self-control in the beginning of the story. This is the
Okay.
person that will go through changes later on, and sometimes the characters do start out as being brats or people who are just screw-ups, and then they go through, they're forced into a change, you know. So I could see that. I see somebody that could be a bully, you know,
Mm.
who starts out being an unsympathetic character that we grow to, that grows to change, and someone that we can eventually understand, at least, you know, to keep our interest, you know, because it's
I
very hard to read a story with a main character we despise, because we like to be able to relate to them in some way, you know, on some level.
I have a third character in the book, and this person comes out as somebody that is a gifter, somebody that spends a huge amount of money on other people, but it's all about empowerment for themselves. They come out as the martyr, the person that's always getting everybody else something wonderful, but in the long run, it turns out to bite them in the butt. So that's another character I have. So we've got.
Well, what I drew was very close to that. I drew somebody who doesn't have a realistic view of the world. You know, somebody who needs structure and discipline, but not somebody who doesn't see things clearly. Could be somebody who sees the good in everybody and is so good that they're blind to any evil that might be there, which is a cautionary tale there, you know, where it's like, yes, it's wonderful to see only good, all the good in people, but you also have to be aware of the dark side, even in yourself.
Right. So we've got a story now that's plot is about free child or people that were free spirited. Three characters. One is seen as what was the first one? I can't remember. The second one was a great communicator, a con man. The third one was a gifter that blows all his money to be able to maybe make fabulous adventures for themselves. And what happens is when they all fall into their ruts in life.
So the plot I'm getting here is the plot will be a fight that will be won. A fight that they'll have a struggle, but they will win. But it will be a struggle that the reader won't be sure if they're going to win, but they are definitely going to win, because I pulled up the Seven of Wands, and it always shows the man fighting off a bunch of wands with one wand. You know, so I see this as almost sort of like a Lord of the Rings thing, where, you know, we have this band of people and there's all these huge armies that they're fighting, and they always seem to survive. But, you know, either by flight or by fighting. And, of course, realistically, it would be your ability to hide and to preserve yourself. So I would say that it starts off as people being afraid to speak up and challenge authority. And then something happens where they're all pressed into finally, you know, standing up for themselves and not being afraid anymore. You know, they might start off with fears and believing that they're weak, and then through the events of the story and by being pushed into action, they come to realize things about themselves and hidden strengths that they didn't realize that they had. And so then they prevail. They win at the end. It's a tough fight, but they do it. What do you think of that?
I think it sounds good. So that's an example of what people that are maybe have writer's block or want to write a story, but just don't know where to start. Your deck of tarot cards, and I have heard Stephen King has used tarot to develop his plots, and I have heard that John Steinbeck used tarot to develop character plots.